Gartland Law presents Taxes, the IRS, and You with your host, Bernie Gartland. Taxes, the IRS, and You is a different kind of show that'll help you solve your tax problems. As former Deputy Attorney General of the state of Delaware, and with over 25 years of experience as sole practitioner in both Delaware and California, the name Bernie Gartland has become synonymous with taxes. And now your host, Bernie Gartland.
Hi everybody, I'm Bernie Gartland. The name of the program is Taxes, the IRS, and You. And we say it's a different kind of show. Now, why do we say it's a different kind of show? Well, because initially we got into the concept of solving everybody's tax problems. And we found out that as we were solving these different problems, a lot of nuances occurred. Like, for instance, fear of the IRS, intimidation of paperwork, which causes procrastination. We also found some other things that we're going to present to you in the upcoming weeks. Is your IRA really an IRA? Well, what about dischargeability of taxes in bankruptcy? What is an offer in compromise, and how can it apply to you? And what about all those national sales organizations that promise you anything under the sun? Well, today we're going to talk about tax problem solving again. But we're going to talk about it with a different twist, something that's extremely interesting. And to me, it's a godsend that we've got somebody in studio today that is not only a motivational speaker, but he's an inspirational speaker. And he's going to utilize a philosophy that is going to help you overcome your fear of the IRS, the intimidation of your paperwork, and get rid of your procrastination. Now, in with me tonight is Bill Mayer. Bill Mayer wrote a book called The Magic in Asking the Right Questions. And he also has a CD called Master Your Questions, Master Your Life. And quite frankly, this magic in asking the right question has been called the missing link in your personal growth technology. Now, let me give you a little bit of background of Bill. Bill was tennis coach to Oprah Winfrey. He also ran across the United States to support the Olympics from Miami all the way to the Coliseum. This was before Forrest Gump. Now, he is in studio. He is going to talk to you about how the philosophy that he has put together in these different CDs and the book, on how it's going to apply to you that have fear of the IRS, intimidation of your paperwork, and overcome your procrastination. And the reason is, we at Gartland Law, and you've known this for a long time because you're from my radio shows and from all the advertisements and interviews I've done on radio and television, you know that we have the solution for your tax problems and your bankruptcy problems. But we're also finding out that people aren't getting off the sofa to come here because fear, intimidation, and procrastination. Now, you have been called the missing link, Bill. And I want to say welcome, because I've never seen a missing link before. So welcome to our program,
Thank you,
Bill.
Bernie.
This is Bill Mayer, and he's going to talk to you about, you better clarify and expand upon, why are you called the missing link in personal growth technology?
Okay, that's a great question, and it also gives me an opportunity for the viewers to let them know a little bit about the magic and asking the right questions. So you're already asking good questions, Bernie.
And
that's good.
That's
fantastic.
It.
There.
I read the book.
And I like, I think, and I teach and I train in triangles. And the reason I do that is three things I can do that. I like to keep things simple there. So if you can just picture a triangle, everybody, you yourself and the viewers, is if you picture a triangle, in the center of the triangle you have personal growth technology. At the top we have Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. The bottom left-hand corner, we have The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. In the bottom right-hand corner, we have The Magic in Asking the Right Questions. Now, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, the essence of that message is this. You become what you think about. Your thoughts control your life. Everything originates with thought. My translation, where my focus goes, my energy flows. Now, you got the Rhonda Byrne. The Secret says, whoa, Bernie, it's not where your focus goes, your energy flows. It's where your focus with feeling goes, your energy flows. Now, if both of these are true, which they are, then you're going to have to help me out. This is a fill in the blank here. How is the magic and ask the right questions the missing link? So if it is true that where my focus goes, my energy flows, which it is, if it's true more specifically where my focus with feeling goes, my energy flows, which it is, then how do you guide and direct your focus? So I need your help, Bernie. You do it through the magic and asking the right
questions.
Questions, perfect. And it's very simple, very profound, but maybe less than 1 in 100 people know what I shared with you just then. And it really is the foundational principle of what I call the magic and ask the right questions, the power thinking secret. So everybody listening, I want you to get this. My thoughts control my life. My questions control my thoughts. Therefore, when I master my questions, I master my life. So everybody, I want to put you back in the driver's seat and know that sequentially, you master your questions, which helps you to master your focus, which helps you to master your emotions, which helps you to master your life. So regarding the questions, you want to start off every day and ask yourself great questions. Questions like, what am I thankful for? Appreciative focus.
Right.
Now, how can I make it fun? Lighten up focus. You know, with the IRS, man, you got to lighten up. You got to lighten up. Very often we take ourselves way too seriously, so that's powerful. And during challenging times, like some hiccups with the IRS, you want to ask questions like, what's great about that? So what does that do? That directs your focus towards feeling better, to be empowered, to essentially feel good.
So getting back to something you said, that if your thoughts control where your life is headed, basically, controls your life. So if someone gets involved in negative thinking, then that person becomes a negative person.
Well, this is as simple as it gets. Where my focus goes, my energy flows, my emotion flows. So where you focus, that's what you begin to create there. Not only do you manifest what you don't want, okay, but it doesn't feel so good along the way.
That's right. That's right. And I love what you have always told me for the years that we've known each other. And you and I used to give lectures and seminars across. And the last one, I think, was in Flint, Michigan, if I remember correctly. And the thing of it is that the magic in asking the right questions, and I always tell clients that come in that they are to set goals for themselves and ask themselves positive questions to attain the goals. And that's exactly what you're saying.
Well, again, sequentially, the question creates the focus.
Okay.
The focus creates the feeling. And if you look at life, really the key to life, to live a happy, joyful life, is emotional mastery. So if you can begin to ask yourself the right questions, most importantly, feel really, really good about you, is going to lay a foundation that'll help you in all aspects of your life, including dealing with the IRS.
I mean, we had a conversation the other day where it was important that for me and my purpose is not only to solve people's tax problems, which we do. Once we get them in here, we can solve their problem because we have a 3-step process. But also, how to utilize your philosophy to help them after the fact in their future life. And that's what you're talking about, aren't you?
Well, the bottom line is our conversation as I drove out here today, I said, what did I want Bernie and everybody on the call to get? That you can put yourself back in the driver's seat. I was speaking to my wife, Nancy, you know Nancy, and last night, and I just said, what it's all about is, I was thinking of like a sailboat, and most people, it's like the wind and the sail, and the wind is taking them here, there, scattered focus everywhere. You know, what would it be like truly if you mastered the art of asking yourself the right questions to proactively create magic every day in your life?
That's incredible. And what we want to do now is in just a few seconds, we're going to take our self-serving crash commercial, okay? And on the other side, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to use these concepts and philosophy that you have, the inspirational philosophy, the philosophical philosophy, so to speak. I know that's redundancy,
well,
but it's
sounds fancy. That's all right.
People that know me know that I say things like that. Right. And we're going to use that on how to get over the fear toward the IRS. And then we're talking about the intimidation of the paperwork and the procrastination. But your concepts will, once they identify with what you're saying, they will be able to overcome their fear. So when we come back from the crash commercial, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue this with Bill Mayer, who is an inspirational and motivational speaker, and he's going to tell you how not to be afraid of the IRS.
Visit us on the web at www.gartlandlaw.com.
Did you know that you can solve all your IRS problems with just 3 easy steps? Hi, I'm Bernie Gartland. We have helped thousands of people with our 3-part problem-solving process. We analyze your situation, whether big or small, break it down to 3 parts, apply our process to it. This proven process has worked for others, and it will work for you. Let us help you put control back in your life and have that control give you a future with just 3 easy steps. No more sleepless nights. Hi, everybody. Bernie Gartland. Name of the program is Taxes, the IRS, and You. Welcome back to all our viewers. Welcome back. We have in-house Bill Mayer, an inspirational, motivational speaker who I've known for many, many, many years. And if we had a 3-hour program, we could go into some of the war stories that we can tell you, hilarious as well as sad, but that's not for today. He is the author of a wonderful, wonderful book called The Magic in Asking the Right Questions. And he also has a CD. It's called Master Your Questions, Master Your Life. And Master Your Question, Master Your Life, I have given to some relatives of mine, and I have to tell you, the response was mega, mega positive. It changed their whole life. Now, what we're talking about with Bill is the fact that the clients that we run into, or the potential clients that we run into that need our services for tax problem solving, normally have a fear of the IRS that they shouldn't have. They're intimidated by their paperwork and bookwork, which causes procrastination, so they never get anything done. So I asked Bill to be here today to talk about the magic and ask the right question and to use that philosophy to help people overcome this fear. And I think at this segment right here, I think, Bill, what I would like to ask you to do is to kind of go into more detail, embellish, if you will, how the philosophy that you and I live by the way, and preach, yes. How is that going to help people who are sitting at home that have incredible bad thoughts because they're afraid of everything? How is the philosophy going to help them to get off what we used to say in the Army, off and on, okay? Off your butt and on to do something positive. So what is the philosophy we can relate to them so that they know that there is an answer?
Beautiful. Great question again. And when we went to break, you had broken it down brilliantly to the fear and the procrastination. So is it okay if I address the fear first of all?
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Is that what I found is best is if I can tell you a little story. And I love quotes because one great inspired quote can transform somebody's life.
I agree.
So to make it user-friendly, I'm going to share with you 2 quotes, and I'll share with you a little bit about what I call the emotional guidance system, because the IRS, and sometimes it can be a little bit of an emotional roller coaster ride. So the first quote that will help everybody on the call, in life in general, but specifically with the IRS, is simply this, 7 words that will forever change your life. Where my focus goes, my energy flows. Where my focus goes, my energy flows. Now, if this is true, which it is, does it make sense to focus in on what you desire and want in your life, not what you fear and don't want? Most people, even when they're clear what they want the tax resolution, but they spend 95% of the time focusing on what they fear and don't want. So absolutely, this quote, I have a good friend, Suzanne Hart, and it helped her in life, helped her with the IRS. And she simply said this. She said, all day long I ask myself this question, Bill, where's my focus right now? Is it on abundance? Is it on lack? Is it on faith? Is it on fear? Is it on what you want? Is it what you don't want? And it transformed her life. It allowed her to live more consciously, deal with the IRS challenges, any challenges that come up in life. So very powerful quote. Mm-hmm. The second one, you know that I'm a fan of Wayne Dyer. Yeah. He says this, he says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Say that again. Say
okay.
That again.
I'll start it out. Right. You finish it. See if you got this. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at
change.
Beautiful. Okay. Everything in life is interpretation. Everything in life is interpretation. And the happiest, most content, blissful people on the planet are not people who don't have stuff like IRS challenges. They simply choose to interpret the information differently. Let me give you a personal example. Okay. Sometimes I used to not like to pay bills. And I had resentment over this one bill, Bernie. I had an SDG&E bill, and it was like $1,000 a month. Yeah. And I wrote that, and it was painful to write it there. Yeah. But I took in that quote, when you change the way you look at things, and what I began to do was at the memo portion of my check, I simply wrote EOV. It stood for exchange of value. Uh-huh. And then I gave thanks, I gave gratitude. Right. All right. I put a smiley face, I felt good about it. I sent it away, I blessed it. The amazing thing that happened was the very next week, I got a rebate check from my tire company. I got actually a check back from the IRS, and one of my coaching former clients brought 200 books. So I said, coincidence? I don't know, but very powerful. Yeah. The last thing, if we have time, can I just touch briefly on the emotional guidance system?
Absolutely.
All right. I love this concept, and I think the listeners, or the viewers will find value in this, and that is that I'm not real spiritual. I mean, I'm not real religious, I guess, in the formal sense, but I am very spiritual.
Right.
And I know that there's a higher power out there and speaks to us through emotion. And whenever you have any negative emotion like fear, doubt, worry, lack, anxiety, stress, it's simply your higher power saying, Bernie, you're focusing in on creating what you don't want in your life right now. Now, if you knew that every time you had a negative emotion that you were focusing in on and creating what you didn't want in your life, how much time would you spend there?
Forever.
Okay. Well, I'll ask the question again.
Right.
Okay. If you knew with absolute certainty that every time you were experiencing a negative emotion that you were focusing in on and creating what you didn't want, okay, zero or even better yet, maybe just a minimal amount of time.
And what you're saying is that as you, again, what we said in the first segment is that if you're focusing on negative thoughts and negative activity, then your life becomes negative. So you have to turn that around. And what I always say is turn every negative into a positive.
I love it.
That's what we talk about.
And it's a matter of choice, and boom.
It's a matter of choice.
And you can stop those dominoes right away. Once you become, I call it like divinely conscious, not like in a paranoid way, but you simply listen to that little angst or whatever, and it's telling you to just shift your focus at that moment. It's a beautiful tool to use.
Right. Yeah, it's very interesting because there's also another phraseology that I coined to talk to people that sit with me is basically the same thing, is that we want to show people how to get control back in their life and have that control give them a future. Right. And that's what you're talking about, is that the concept, the philosophy is to dwell upon positive thoughts, which because where your focus goes, your energy flows.
I think you're getting this, Bernie. I think you're getting it.
I'll tell you. And what happens is that if it's positive energy, your life becomes more positive.
All right. And who's in control of that focus? This is the thing I want everybody to get. You are. You know, you're the ones that control the thoughts.
So if
the
they're
emotions.
Sitting on the couch fearing the IRS, and they're talking to themselves in terms of the fear of the IRS, then they're creating their own fear.
Well, they're creating the fear. Most importantly, it doesn't feel real good. And I promise you what'll manifest is more trouble, more problems, more lack. I mean, if you want abundance in your life, you focus in on where you're...
And the interesting thing is that the same thing would apply for intimidation of paperwork, because if you have the negative thoughts about the paperwork being overwhelming, then what happens? You concentrate on being overwhelming, which causes procrastination, and that's what you're saying.
Beautiful. Well, procrastination is just something you perceive something as painful, and you don't do it. So you know that with absolute certainty. I know we're probably just about ready to go to break.
This is great stuff.
But we can continue on procrastination when we come back.
Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about what we call a call to action. Now, on the other side, Bill's going to tell us about the procrastination and how to get over the fears of procrastination and intimidation, and what the call of action should be to get you, well, not the military expression again, off and on, and get into a segment that you can put control back in your life. We'll see you on the other side.
Stay tuned. Bernie will be right back with more tax solutions.
If these 4 areas are controlling your life, let me show you how through either a Chapter 7 bankruptcy or a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, we can put control back in your life and have that control give you a future. Call me today for a free consultation. Facing bankruptcy have led many people to believe it was the end of the line, when in fact it was their doorway to a new beginning. Hi, I'm Bernie Gartland. For a full explanation of what a Chapter 7 or a Chapter 13 bankruptcy is, call me today for a free consultation. Is there anything else you want to share with us, Bill? Okay. Now, that's a segue into the next segment, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bernie Gartland. Name of the program is Taxes, the IRS, and You. And I'm going to ask him again, is there anything you want to share with us today that could be of value to all your viewers out here, meaning my viewers? And what about a call to action? Is there a call to action that Bill can let you know how to overcome your fears so that you can get into the proper mental frame of mind to take care of your problems? Hopefully they're tax problems that we can solve for you. So, Bill, is there anything of any value you can share with the viewers out there? And what about a call to action?
Okay. Well, hopefully there'll be lots of value in the last few minutes we have together. And again, I think teach and train in triangles. So 3 things I want to share at the end here is the importance about feeling really, really good about you. That's going to be number 1. to be responsible, to take responsibility, and then to definitely lighten up with the IRS.
Right.
So there's nothing more important, without getting too airy-fairy or whatever you want to call it, but there's nothing more important than when you wake up in the morning, Bernie, and everybody viewing today, is that you feel really good about you. And the single most powerful way to feel really, really good about you is to simply be clear on and live in harmony with your highest values. So for example, I'm going to give you my 9 highest values. There's a reason for this. My 9 highest values, again, triangles, are vibrant health, spiritual connection, time and financial freedom. Going to my number 2 triangle, I have family focus, creatively making a difference, contribution, and fun, joy, and laughter. My 3rd triangle, I have love, kindness, appreciation, personal growth, neat and orderly. I didn't share that burning impression like, wow, Bill, you memorized your 9 highest values, but to share with you the importance, to impress upon you the importance of being clear on and living in harmony with your highest values. Because when you do that, you feel really, really good about you. And when you're dealing with challenges, I promise you, it's less impactful. It's more water off the duck's back when you're feeling really, really good about it. So one of the most important questions to ask everybody is, what do you value most in your life? What's most important? And be congruent, live in harmony with those values. Be responsible. One of my favorite quotes, you probably remember this from my seminars, and that was simply, I take full responsibility for what I think, how I feel, and the results I create in my life. I take full responsibility for what I think, how I feel, and the results I create in my life. I think it was Jack Canfield said, the single most powerful characteristic of a top achiever is someone who takes full responsibility. No room for blame, no room for victim. You're the center of your universe with every thought, with every feeling. Everybody listening, you're the center of your universe with every thought, with every feeling. That you're creating your destiny, your financial future, your IRS future, everything there. So you want to be responsible. And the final thing, definitively, Bernie, is you got, not you, because you got a great sense of humor, but everybody else, when you're dealing with the IRS challenge, please, you got to lighten up. Ask the question all day long. How can I make it fun? Even start off your day. Just look in the mirror and say, why don't you lighten up a little bit? I promise it'll make for a more enjoyable day, very often a more profitable day, because this is the final thought I want to finish up with, Bernie, is that we are vibrational beings in a vibrational universe, and the vibration of fun, joy, and laughter is almost identical to the vibrational frequency of prosperity and abundance. So if you want to turn it around, you guys, I promise you, lighten up, ask yourself, how can you make it fun? And I know, Bernie, one of the things that really, really impressed me when we spoke on the phone yesterday, it wasn't about you closing the deal with people. It was all about, let's give them some life skills that'll help them during I gained even more respect for you. That was fantastic there. So absolutely, I believe, do what you do best. Let others do the rest. And you've helped me out so much with my tax. I appreciate it there. And I got a new slogan.
What a plug.
I got a new slogan for you. What's the one about the use about the sleepless night? What is this?
Are you suffering through sleepless nights if you haven't filed tax returns in several years?
Okay, I've got a new one for you there. Okay, and this is it. I was thinking as I was driving over here, how do you spell relief?
How do you spell relief?
B-E-R-N-I-E. Bernie.
Can't ask for anything better than that. The interesting thing is that it goes back to what I also talk with the clients about, is that we are going to implement programs that put control back in your life and have that control give you a future. And if you want to put control back in your life, you have to think in a positive way, which is the philosophy that you've been talking about all day today. If you think in terms of negative and fear feelings, then you're going to wallow in self-pity. And by the way, self-pity can be very addictive. That the more you feel sorry for yourself, the more you feel sorry for yourself, you don't take control of your life and go forward. Utilizing the magic and asking the right questions, and also the master your questions, master your life, is that you're setting up a program for yourself. Well, you just outlined, I'm responsible for my own thoughts, my own destiny. And if you choose to be negative, that's where you're going to be. But again, looking at what you're talking about is that looking in the mirror every day and saying, what am I grateful for today? And you might want to say to yourself, what do I fear? Oh my goodness, the IRS is coming after me. I fear. I don't have to fear the IRS because I take charge of my responsibility. I am going to do something positive about it by utilizing the concepts you're talking about.
The most important conversation you have, Bernie, is the one with yourself. And the beauty of it is that everyone now knows that you control your thoughts, by the questions you ask yourself. So everyone has that gift.
Yeah. By the way, would you tell a story about your son Billy and Nancy?
Okay.
Would you tell a story?
Okay, good. I'll condense it down there. Have a son, Billy. He's 16. When he was 11 and a half, and this is about where my focus goes, my energy flows. A young kid.
Right.
He was up in Temecula, Grandma and Grandpa's farm,
Right.
and they have one of those driveways up a big steep hill, and the pebbly driveway there. And it was a Sunday morning. They had a horse property around 9:30, and he said, "Mom, is it okay if I go for a bike ride?" And she says, "Sure, but don't go too fast down the hill and don't slip on the pebbles." And he looked at her with total love and respect. He said, "Mom, what is it that you do want me to focus in on?" and she said, "I want you to focus in on being safe, And that's the beauty. If an 11-and-a-half-year-old can get it, you guys, every one of you viewers, you can definitely get it. You can put yourself in the driver's seat, and you can change your life immediately.
Okay. So what it is that is so great, because I remember the story. I mean, I remember it from Flint, Michigan, because it makes so much sense that if you are even raising children, if you are negative in your approach, it's going to be totally negative. And you say, I think that's a great story. And that's the same thing we get back to over and over again. We at our law firm, we have American Tax Centers that gets your tax returns done, even if you haven't filed in 3, 4, 5, 10 years. And we have Gartland Law that helps you with your tax problems. The problem I had, and that's why I asked you to come here, is that with your concepts, we're trying to get the people who are still at home, the viewers that are still at home, fretting over the IRS. I know this may sound ridiculous, but if you were to come in to see us here, you will find out how we can get information from the IRS that they know about you, so we can develop a plan so that you can get control back in your life and have that control give you a future. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a new segment starting in a week or two. Mark this down, info@gartlandlaw.com, info, @gartlandlaw.com. We want you to email us with questions that you may have about any subject, not only just what we covered today, but any subject, because we are going to answer those emails on the next segment that we have. Every Wednesday we're here from 11 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And Bill, if the viewers want to get in touch with you for additional information or consultation, how do they get in touch with you?
Very best way, website is presently being revised, is simply to call me on my direct line, 760-742-2798, and I can tell them about my books, CDs, and coaching.
Say goodbye to everybody, Bill.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody, and thank you for joining us every Wednesday. This is Bernie Gartland. Name of the program is Taxes, the IRS, and You.
Great to see you.
Yeah, it is great. It's good. Oh, good.